It is now morning time, and I just got unloaded by a couple of side booms. They had to lift it off. And now I have to go fuel up again and head all the way back, because the next trip I believe is going to Edmonton with a trailer with a bunch of wellheads. So you guys are getting a trip to Edmonton next, I think. That could change any minute. And that is Driving Force. That's the rental place that rents all the vehicles onto the pipeline. Look at that. Those are all pipeline trucks there. Look at that. We got ourselves another beautiful sunrise coming. Give you a little look at what's under the hood. So today, I guess we'll actually talk about driving this. Well, we're trying something new today. Never heard of this one before. C4 Energy. Frozen bombsicle. Sounds horrific. Okay, we're driving a Cummins with an 18 speed. It's basically a 4-speed. You got first, second, third, fourth, then you flip the switch up and you go back to first, which is fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. The little gray button is your half gears. The only time you use your clutch is when you get to the lights. There you go, that's shifting for you. It's not hard. It's just a 400 RPM split. Literally exactly 400 RPMs before you go into the next gear. Doesn't matter whether you're going up or down. It's 400 RPMs all the time. And we are bobtailing back, which means we have no trailer, which means I have no weight on the back end. Like that guy right there. So when it's icy and you touch those air brakes, things get exciting. This is what you get when you work in the oil field. Almost daily sunrises and sunsets like that. It almost looks like a nuclear bomb going on. And my C4 drink tastes like Kool-Aid and chemicals. Tastes like the rest of them, I guess. So, I figured today we might as well talk about the money you can make, how you can make money in the oil field. Probably going to throw in a bunch of health stuff, because doing this is hard on the body if you don't do it right. Yeah, I just thought I'd show you the gas plant as we're going by. So we're going to get into the money aspects of this. And there's a lot of money to be made. I mean, an obscene amount. Before I do, though, I was just thinking, how's all the homies doing? Richard Gamblin, haven't heard from you in a while. Richard, haven't seen any videos for a while there, Richard. What's going on, man? Josh, hope you're doing all right. I'm actually going to make a special stop today just for you, Josh. There's a really cool gas station in Prince George I discovered yesterday that's full of tactical guns. Literally, you go shopping in a gas station and half the aisle has food and the other half of the aisle has cases full of guns. actually make a stop there just for you, Josh. So I'll give you a little example about the money difference. I had a friend of mine who worked at his dad's locksmith company his entire life, right since high school. And it was the oldest locksmith company in Canada. And when all of the companies that they used to do all the lock changes for the big industrial buildings and stuff decided that they're going digital locks, they'll do it themselves, it just decimated their business. And he had no other skills other than locksmith. So he went and did the $15,000 course, got his class 1, and he ended up going highway trucking for a company out of Calgary. And he was driving the highways to, you know, northern Alberta, Saskatchewan, that kind of stuff, in horrific conditions, getting paid nothing. He was making 19 bucks an hour. So I made a phone call and got him hired on the pipeline. And he immediately went to bringing home $3,000 to $3,500 a week after taxes. And that job didn't have LOA or camp pay. And if you don't know what LOA is, that's live out allowance. That's why I like pipeline. They will give you a live out allowance if you have to live in hotels and that kind of stuff. I think right now it's anywhere from $185 to $250 a day tax-free money that you get to live on. That's a lot of extra money in a month, an extra $5 or $6 grand. Now, right now, I've been bouncing around hotel to hotel, and you know, hotel and food can cost you $1,300 a week, even $1,500 depending on how you eat. So you want to be smart about what you're eating and not be eating out at restaurants and all that. I actually stop at Save-On or Safeway when I can and buy groceries. You know, lots of little fruit containers and veggies and stuff to try and be healthy, because living at gas stations and restaurants is not good for you. Yeah, no, energy drinks obviously not good for you, but that's where I'm at right now. You get a little tired running these roads. Anyway, back to the money. We're getting into the health already. If you come out of school and look online, go on to Indeed or whatever, you'll find a ton of jobs that are in the $32 to $36 an hour for Class 1 drivers. But what most people don't understand is the overtime, and the overtime is where you make a lot of money. In BC, it's overtime after 8 hours, you get time and a half. After 12 hours, you get double time. So, all of a sudden, you're making, you know, $600 a day on holidays and weekends. Some days you might end up making over $1,000 a day. That's before taxes, of course, but still. Your standard days on the pipeline are 12 hours. And when you're working pipeline, they don't like you working alone a lot unless you're running the highways like I am right now. But if you're actually just working on the pipeline, oh, look at that idiot. Double solid. And even cuts the truck off. And don't be like that. Don't be that guy. But yeah, you usually get a helper when you're on the pipeline. So you're not doing all of the tying down yourself, all the chaining up by yourself. They kind of go by the buddy system rule most of the time, unless, like I said, you're running the highways like I am right now. Once you've bounced around a little bit, tried out some other jobs, you'll find out that there are jobs out there that pay a ridiculous amount. A lot of the big companies have gone union, and union jobs are anywhere from $42 to $59 an hour. And it doesn't end there. If if you can climb the ladder, and it happens, I know swampers and laborers that have climbed the ladder and made it to foreman. There's guys that are getting a base salary of anywhere from $1,500, I've heard, as high as $3,000 a day as a salary. I know someone who's a straw, which is just down from a foreman, made $450,000 this year and only worked 9 months of the year. There are foremans that are making $1 million a year now. I don't know anywhere else that you can do that. That is pipeline only. And yeah, you got to do a bunch of courses. A majority of the companies will pay for the courses when you work for them. All of my courses I had to do they took about a week and a half. A lot of them you can do at home online. They'll just send you the courses. I had to do all my first aid and fall protection and H2S. Lots of that stuff. Your ground disturbance. There's a lot of orientations every time you go to work for a new company. You got to do new orientation for that company and probably several more. We got an abandoned square body Blazer. Been driving by that thing for weeks now and it's making me crazy. It looks all original. This is Braden Road between Fort St. John and Chetwynd, in case anybody wants to go Blazer hunting. Now, some of these hills are quite spectacular. This is an 11% grade. If you are fully loaded, 11% means you're going to be cooking her down the hill. And we are in moose country. I know I keep saying that, and every time I see one, I don't have the camera rolling ready to go. But I see several moose every single day. So we have laborers on the pipeline, and starting wage, those guys end up bringing home $8,000 a month after tax for just a laborer. Who, you know, those are the guys that do all the work. But if you're going to go away for months at a time, why not go get your class 1 and make the big bucks? Just my opinion. We have a class 1 driver shortage everywhere you go. Canada, the US. Operators for equipment, guys who run dozers and excavators, there's a shortage. They had troubles finding operators. And operators make, I think, $1 an hour less than class 1 drivers. So that is another good gig. I wish I would have gone to school and learned that too. Yeah, anybody can, you know, learn how to run a dozer and excavator, but to run it properly, really well, they have schools for that. They teach you a lot. Down in the US, they have a massive driver shortage. Oh, I see a deer crossing the road up there. And in Vegas, they're actually offering up to $110 an hour, US dollars, to run hydrovac trucks. I know this for a fact because my brother got offered a job doing that. Oh, there's a deer looking at me. I don't know if you can see it, little guy. I don't know how this happened, how we ended up with a driver shortage, but the rates have gone up, way up. And compared to getting paid per kilometer, highway trucking, and you're doing long haul in this kind of conditions, I mean, I think that highway drivers are so underpaid. It's such a cutthroat market. I don't know if it's, you know, what it's like down in the US. I've seen videos of people that are doing really well highway trucking down there, but in Canada, not so much. Overworked and underpaid is definitely the norm in that industry. thanks. Standing in the drill holes, running a pressure washer, getting covered in mud, and on your feet for 12-hour shifts. It's not going to work for me. I've had 3 back surgeries. Standing for that long doesn't work for me. And being in the mud that long, no thanks. I'll stay in my nice warm cab. Running semi-vac, I really like that. That's a fun job, but it's a very competitive market, it seems, these days. The hydrovacs and semi-vacs, so work has been hit and miss with those guys. That's why I went to pipeline. I was running semi-vac on the pipeline on the Trans Mountain, and they just couldn't keep me busy full time. There were so many companies fighting for the same contracts, and I believe it was because in BC they made it standard now that you have to expose the ground before you can dig. I don't know if that's law, that's what I was told. So the hydrovac market exploded. Look at that, low beds. Lots of low beds on the highways all the time. It's a coyote. I got a deer and a coyote so far. A nice bushy coat. So because we're bobtailing and have no trailer, it means that I can start in other gears. I can start first, second, third, fourth. Whoops. There you go. That's shifting for you. It's really easy. This is from yesterday's incident. I guess they just leave them here for now. That's Dodge. Oh man, I'm gonna get my window dirty. And that's Toyota. So the last, I'm gonna say, 5 years for me have been a life-changing roller coaster of learning about time and money. You know, since 2018, I always had part-time jobs, full-time jobs, and in 2018 I decided to go for it and try and make it in my own business, and it was a risk. And then of course the pandemic hit. That was definitely not something I saw coming. And it's been a crazy struggle to the point of being homeless. Well, I learned about what am I wasting my time and my money on? And trying to chase money, and where does money come from? So I started listening to podcasts and all sorts of people giving advice on money, and you know, you end up listening to guys who are millionaires and billionaires giving advice on how you're going to make money with your small business. You know, I listened to one today, and these millionaires are saying, you know, you could go spend $1,000 and buy a pressure washer and charge $70 an hour, or you could go start a dog poop cleaning business and pick up dog poop in people's yard. And all of their business ideas were based on people who have no problem wasting money. And things are so expensive these days that people are having to learn how to spend their money differently. And so I started thinking about, where does money come from? Well, the government says, hey, we need money for this project. We need money for that. We need money, money, money. So the government gets a bunch of money, and they spread it all over into infrastructure projects so that they can scrape a bunch off the top. I mean, people don't make money unless money moves. So the government takes their share every time money moves to a project, and everybody gets payout here, there, and everywhere. Let's be real, that's what happens. So to me, infrastructure was a really good move for me instead of trying to struggle, because then the money trickles down to all the small businesses and we all fight for it. And yes, some people are really good at making money with small businesses. I was not great at managing people. I was not great at managing money or my time. Once I stopped wasting my time, I haven't watched movies and TV and all that garbage for years. I don't have Netflix. I don't have cable or any of that. Only thing I have is internet, so that I have access to the internet for information. I actually don't even watch YouTube hardly at all anymore. When I do, I would try and watch videos that apply to where I was at life in the moment, something motivational, something that gets you learning, going on the right path. And that was it for me. I just said, I'm going to pipeline and sticking with pipeline because that's how I can become a millionaire over the next couple of years. I do not see myself on the production side of the oil field, driving tankers, becoming a millionaire. Working 20-hour days, making someone else a millionaire. When you were working jobs like this, you were surrounded by people who make $300,000 a year and up. Like a lot of the foremen I've met on the pipeline are the nicest people in the world. It's unbelievable how nice they are, and they're millionaires. They have put in their time, they have climbed the ladder, and it actually doesn't take that long. You don't have to spend your entire life saving, investing, spending 25 years to try and, make $1 million. These guys are doing it in 3 to 5 years. What's your time worth these days? Your time's worth a lot, especially at the cost of fuel and food and rent. Even owning a house, I don't know if it's worth it these days when you look at what's happened to everybody. I know people that their mortgages went from $1,350 a month to $3,600 a month. Well, you can't triple your mortgage making the same income and expect that you're going to keep moving ahead. And now everybody's hustling. We're now starting to see the cutthroat days come back again like we've never seen. And there's an entire shift going on right now of money in all of the industries. Like right now, there's repo guys. It's always good to watch what the repo guys are doing. They are repoing highway tractors like crazy. All across Canada, highway tractors are just getting repoed like I've never seen before. Because I know a repo guy. And he said that with fuel going up and the price of highway trucking, all the prices have dropped, guys can't afford it. So he's getting 40 repos a week that he has to collect, right from Vancouver to Toronto. So there's a massive shift going on in all markets. Look at that. That whole mountain burned. It's kind of cool, but it's not either. So one of the things I keep hearing is a lot of guys don't want to leave home. I got to be there for my kids. I got to be there for my kids. They don't want to leave home because, they're worried their wife or their girlfriend or whatever is going to cheat on them. It's going to leave them, When it comes to your kids, you're a man. You need to put as much money in your pocket as possible, because what you're creating is a codependency that you can't be away from your kids and they can't be away from you. So everybody needs to stay in the same town and struggle for the rest of your lives. Be a man. Go to work. Put as much money on the table as you can so that you don't have to struggle the rest of your life. And if your woman's going to leave you, Hit the road. It's that easy. If you're not worth waiting for, hit the road. Because you're here for a reason. It's not easy to leave home. Not at all. But when you have the mindset of this is what I have to do. I need to get my life on track, your family's life on track, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes, then you get to go and make the big money when you're willing to make the sacrifice. But until then, if you're going to sit there and struggle for years and years, it's really just about you, isn't it? It's not about your family. Because if it was about your family, you would do whatever it takes. We got ourselves a snowstorm. The Pine Pass never disappoints. And one thing you can count on in the Pine Pass is the weather app is always wrong. It's always an upset here. Remember yesterday when I was talking about the cortisol levels in your body? This is where you breathe deep and drive slow. And for those of you that are thinking about trucking because you think you're a driver roaring around in your pickup or your car, this is what you're going to deal with every single day, all fall, winter, and spring. These roads are solid ice. So this will see if you're a real driver. So here, I'll give you some tips and tricks I've learned over the years about driving off highway and in these kind of weather conditions. And, you know, there's a lot of truckers that have way more experience and knowledge than I do. This is just stuff I've learned that works for me. But I'm a driver who likes to use the engine brake all the time. So when I'm in conditions like these, I don't lock my axles in. Those last 4 buttons lock all the rear axles so that I can have all 3 drives locked in like pausing. But I don't lock them in because if I let off the throttle when they're locked in and the engine brake kicks in, then the back end starts to slide on me. So I leave them all locked out so that if the engine brake happens to kick in and one tire needs to spin, it doesn't kick the back end sideways. And if I need the lockers, it's going to be on an uphill grade. Because I don't have a trailer on right now, so far I don't need them. And when I'm, say, in the bush and I'm loaded, if you have all the axles locked in, well, you have 3 axles wanting to push you straight forward. It's called inertia. And your steering is almost non-existent. But if you leave the engine brake on, every time you let off the throttle, the engine brake kicks in and it will drop the front end so that it has traction again and bring the front end over where you need it to be, and then you're on the throttle again. So you can just kind of hop the throttle using the engine brake so that you always have your steering axle not sliding everywhere. Some tips for you new guys that are thinking about going trucking. Look at that. Powder King ski hill. Yesterday there was no snow here. Today we got a blizzard. I feel like Christmas music. Alright Josh, this one's for you. This is that place I was telling you about. We are at a Husky gas station in Prince George. And you'll see that old military truck there. And then KG Corner Store. And they have a Quiznos inside. You're gonna like this. So they have these awesome hoodies. What does it say? KG Armory. And I was walking down this aisle. And look at that. My goodness, the stuff. That is just awesome. And the rest is just a normal store. So we are back in Fraser Lake, and it's real windy. And next trip, we're headed for Edmonton, taking wellheads. So that means we gotta drop the roller on the Texas bed, hook onto this trailer. So I guess you guys are coming along on the next trip too.